Thursday marks the turning point from Jesus being loved and adored by the crowds to authorities actively plotting to try arrest him and try him. It is the bridge between the arrival to Jerusalem and the events that follow, beginning with Maundy Thursday. On page 87, Borg and Cresson ask two important questions. If the Jewish crowd was so against Jesus, was it necessary to arrest him in the darkness of night with the help of a traitor from among Jesus' followers? Why not arrest him in broad daylight? Further in the chapter, the authors offer us an answer. It was important, in order to avoid a riot, to arrest Jesus alone, outside of view from the crowds. The collaborators needed to find someone in Jesus' inner circle to betray him.
In this chapter, Borg and Cresson explore the three prophecies Jesus gave about his death. The authors contend that after hearing these prophecies, the disciples failed to believe and understand what was coming. Peter challenged the first prophecy and was rebuked by Jesus. Most of the disciples challenged the second prophecy by arguing amongst themselves. The third prophecy is the most detailed, where Jesus wants them to accept the reality of his upcoming death and resurrection. James and John asked if they could participate in his glory by sitting at his right and left hands, which was discounted by Jesus immediately.
Mark contrasts the failure of the disciples by introducing the story of the woman with the alabaster jar at a home in Bethany. Because the disciples did not believe what was coming, their witnessing her anointing him with oil came as a shock, because this was meant to prepare the body for burial. The authors go so far as to claim that this woman represents perfect discipleship, contrasting with Judas, who represents the worst in discipleship, and that she was actually the first Christian because she believed in Jesus before anyone else.
The chapter ends by discussing how it came to be that Judas was to betray Jesus on Thursday of the last week. It is interesting to note that in Mark there is little to no discussion about Judas's intention behind his betrayal of Jesus. However, Judas can be seen as a metaphor for the failures of the 12 disciples and their clear lack of understanding. It is interesting to note that in this book of Mark, he is always referred to as Judas, one of the 12. The emphasis here focuses on someone very close to Jesus who is the one to betray, not simply what Judas's motive to betray is. The chapter of the last week concludes, and so Wednesday ends and the plot has been set into motion.
Please consider this week and respond in the comment section below to the following questions from the book that are posted here. This will offer us an opportunity for discussion as we go through this week in Lent. Question 1. What does Jesus expect from his followers in terms of his death and resurrection? Question 2. What do you think were the motives for Judas's betrayal of Jesus?